We're a little short on cash, but it's officially harvest season. Let's finish this one out with Walter and get some money back to the bank.
How's it going, kiddo?
Walter, it's been a while. What's the good word of the day?
An F5 tornado can reach up to 318 miles per hour, or 512 kilometers per hour. But don't worry, we're safe here.
Walter, it seems that you've forgotten I'm from the Midwest and the Great Plains. Therefore, we get windstorms on the regular.
Listen, there are things to do. Let's continue another day, shall we?
You know what? You're right. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Walter's Farm, everybody. This is going to be our series finale, as we have one final harvest to try and make back as much money to Walter's debt as we can possible. Now, the Massey Ferguson has been prepped. Closest cornfield we got is 7. Then we got to go to 21, 26, 49, and the rest are beans. If you guys have enjoyed Walter's Farm, because it is the longest running series on 25 for the channel, be sure to head down below, consider smashing that like button, possibly subscribing. With the combine now filled up, let's get on the road, and we'll see you guys at our first corn plot. I want you guys to head down to the comments section and let me know what was your favorite memory throughout the course of Walter's Farm. As our other series started to make way onto the channel, Walter kind of took a back seat, and I don't like that, but sadly it was just the nature of the beast. Get our snoots in line and set the GPS lines. We are hitting 100+ yield. I don't remember what the yield map looked like, as all of the field data we did our best to ensure the best possible results. The new grain truck has been working wonders. We did a couple grain contracts over the last few months, just waiting to get started with harvest, and it has certainly paid for itself. I did put in the real vehicle breakdown mod I have on the old school. We're going to just see how this mod works over the course of time, and at some point I would like to see the jumper cable process. I seen somebody do it in a short clip, but I'm curious to do it myself. If we leave the lights on, or like I do, leave the ignition on, that should drain the battery. We'd have to jump start everything almost every time. We're still sitting about 80, but that is, yeah, could be worse. I don't remember, did we plant 2? Yes, we did plant 2 full headlands. From the planter's perspective, we planted 2 headlands, but our header is half the width of the planter, so that means we have to set the GPS to do 4 headlands, which I am going to do right now before I forget. See how many more passes that takes out? I should probably give Daryl a ring, see if he can get the cart over. Daryl, if you got a copy in that Kenworth, I know you can't talk, but if you can start heading over this way, I'm getting full on the headlands. Thank you, bud. See if I can slow down and let him get underneath the auger. Come on, baby, I'm waiting on you. There we go. Whoa, 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 slow down. Perfect, Daryl, perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and speed it up. That should be good. I would have liked to try and conclude this series before the end of 2025, but sadly scheduling just did not work out that way. As I mentioned earlier, Walter just kind of kept getting pushed onto the back burner. If I am to make a mega cut for this, the insane difference it will be between episode 1 and where we are at now is going to be crazy. We had 1 full calendar year of development, new mods, customizations, difference in editing style. It'll be insane to see how different those would be. I don't believe we're going to be using Riverbend Springs anytime soon. It's a great map, don't get me wrong, but I'm still waiting on a Nebraska map to try and get the Nebraska Farm Series up and running. There's one thing I'm really trying to strive for with the return of Nebraska is the presentation out the gate. It is such a high anticipated series, but it also is such a personally connecting series. All the info that I have learned about farming, all of the things I've learned on how to take care, treat, and modify the land is really what I feel is going to bring that series home. We got one last headland to go, and then it is on to some drone shots with Daryl running the combine.
Still working land that my granddad broke. Same old plow, same heavy yoke. The bankers smile while they twist that rope. And the suits in town call it hope. I've called my reps, I've raised my voice, but they don't hear the farmer's noise. They're too damn busy making toys for folks who never earned their joy. With the blood in this nation's veins, still feeding them through drought and pain, but they tax our souls and drink our gain like ticks on a dog that knows the rain.
Messed up on the fly, filled up the rest of the straight truck. Now we just got to get the back of the Parker topped off, which this should fill it. I have no doubt in my mind that we won't get at least a full train and possibly a wagon, but that's still not a whole lot of corn, and we got to rely heavily on the beans, which, yes, are worth more, but if all of this crop would have been corn and we sold it as dry, we probably would have been out of debt. While he's getting turned around, this looks pretty dang good. I would like to have seen more green, but I think that's just a limitation of the soil type. Most of it should be about 105, correct? Ooh, 110. Not too shabby. We don't have much left to cut. We just filled up the entire grain train. I'll have to double check the data, but I think this year we're going to have significantly less corn than we did last time. Darrow should easily be done and moved on to our next plot by the time we get back. We're going to have to get a grain sample and wait in line for the dryer if there is anybody. I've yet to navigate this setup through the co-op, so it'll be interesting to see if it's difficult or not. If you don't know what this machine is, it is a grain probe. This tells you the moisture content of your crop, and it'll also tell the machine whether or not you're the guy that actually had a trailer full of corn and then shoved the top layer of beans on it. I'm not concerned. You guys know I'm not lying. There's the first reading, and there's the second. Just get one more for the gravity wagon, and we are set. Moisture content came out to 17.5%. Not terrible, still a little wet, and this shouldn't take too long to dry down in the dryer. If we somehow manage to get the whole 150,000 liters of corn to where we could dry that down to 135, we could potentially be sitting on $111,000 just in dry corn. And beans, let's say we get 50,000, that's 62,450. Put those two together, you're looking at just over $174,300. That still falls way short of our $285,000 loan, but considering that the farmstead is pulling in more money than it's currently losing, I would say we still have a shot within the next 2 years to pay back the entirety of the loan. It just will not happen this time. Daryl radioed in while we were doing our calculations. The combine had half a tank after finishing out the rest of the plot, and he has moved up to 21. The corner he started in is not looking good on the yield monitor. It's sitting somewhere in the orange. But as long as he's not throwing straight ears out the rear, I think I'll be happy with the results.
12 seconds later.
Oh, that's gonna hurt. I didn't even think about checking the soil types. 26 was one of the plots we ended up getting through a cash rent. Never had data on that. 57, that'll be good. This will be an amazing plot. I'm not going to hold my breath on 57. 70 is going to be horrible. And just around this north half of the farmyard, that's about all we're going to get for good yield. The rest of it's just going to be holding your breath that 26 has more loam than any of them. Bucked Up Farming taught me a lot about what the yield maps can be expected to look like. In 22, you used to get really high yields in the clay soil. At least that's what I can remember. So retraining my brain to think of loam sand being the best has been a bit of a challenge. The AI must also be learning itself, because the way they used to harvest these plots, it'd make you just want to drive a stick through your eye. But he's been making these lane cuts that allow him to like turn without hitting the crop at all, and I don't remember him doing that. So FarmSim's AI is indeed evolving. I'm slightly all for it. We're just going to take the truck with us. There's no reason to take it all the way back to the co-op, and we just fill it up within maybe a couple passes on this next plot. The beans, we're going to go ahead and save that harvest portion for the upcoming live stream. This video will probably be out after that, but just a heads up, we will not be finishing the harvest in this video. We will be doing that over live stream, and I'll post the final results. However, we have to do that in the community chat to let you guys know how this farm turned out in the end. Please fare me better than my other fields, I beg of you. I see green, and I see a lot of it. 108. The worst part in this plot is pulling 95. That is insane. I get soil types vary everywhere, but with the headlands always being the one part that's compacted, and especially with that bordering a driveway, it's amazing that the headlands are yielding as good as they are. 2 headlands in, and we are at 80% fill. Let's top off the grain truck. Hope we can get close to a full hopper so we can move south and get the last plot of corn. Let's do ourselves a favor and not try to get hit by a train like we did last time when we bought this truck. I've done a little bit of work to our air brake system, so our braking power has been significantly increased. What would it be without a postal man cutting me off when I'm in the middle of turning? But the truck has felt a lot safer to drive, but we've still been heavily relying off of the engine brake just to make sure we have enough stopping power. Yes, that's a bit harder on the motor, But in fairness, that's kind of what the engine brake was designed to do. Not full braking power, but save the wear on your own physical brakes. The good thing that the floor grate is as wide as it is, almost all of that is just hitting straight on the drawbar. I have a bad feeling we're not going to get even close to that 135,000 I was hoping for. But the good news is we are on to the final plot of corn, which Daryl has radioed in that it is about 90-ish%. He just started on the headland, so he doesn't have a full round of data yet, but that's at least something to look forward to. This is another chunk of ground that we got on our cash rent deal. I don't know why I never bought the data for the ground, but maybe it's just a financial thing at that point. What does the yield look like? Go ahead, just beat me with a stick. I don't like being a negative Nancy, but I also understand when things just aren't going to work out. This is a nice sized piece of ground. Maybe we'll get a little bit more out of it than I expect, but only time will tell. Come on, baby, bring it home. Just a few short passes left. No, come here. And I think we're going to get close to 80%. It certainly exceeded my expectations. I wasn't anticipating a full load, but this is pretty dang close and about the best you're going to get. And that is a wrap. Can we top off the rest of the grain truck, or we put too much in the back? If I can even see where the pipe's at. No, we put way too much in the back. That's all right. That's going to put us around 82,000 liters in the corn dryer. Tallying that towards our estimated high sell in December, we're looking at just under $68,000. If we could put $100,000 towards our debt with Walter, I think that's going to be a great place to leave us off. So thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll be catching you guys on the live stream to finish out the rest of the bean harvest. If you enjoyed Walter's Farm and want to check out the entirety of the playlist, if and before I might make a mega cut, you can find that in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Other than that, make sure to keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fresh, and most importantly, keep it fun. We shall see you guys all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out. Peace.